Alright, so it's day what? 4 or 5? Something like
5.
that. Yeah.
We missed day 4. Yeah.
But yeah, how's your arm and everything else feel?
Everything is a-okay. The last little bit of residual bruised feeling has faded. So,
Good, good.
All that's left to do now is to gear up for dose 2, which is April the 13th or something. I can't remember.
An unlucky day. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'll see how it goes. The second one is supposed to be rough. They're supposed to be well. They say if you're going to experience side effects, you're more likely to experience them with the second one. So lucky for me, it's scheduled on a Friday, so I can
Friday.
whoop whoop,
Hey.
so I can be sick over the weekend.
Whoop whoop. It's a fun, just weekend plans, you know.
Weekend full of side effects.
Just me and the girls, you know.
Just me and the hallucination.
No, the phantasms!
The phantasms, yes.
Isn't that a thing that's like...
Snakes, fire and snakes.
There's a type of, just a corn mold that, like, induces the phantasms?
Ergot. Ergot is a type of corn mold that if you eat corn that's been touched by this particular mold, it can lead to, the phantasms. I forgot about that.
Well, like the hallucinations of ghosts, right?
Do you know what? I don't know if... I can't remember the context for us reading about the phantasms. I think... I mean, I guess, yes. I don't know if it's specifically hallucinations of ghosts or if it's just an old-fashioned word. Because I can't remember where we read that. It's possible that we read it.
Oh, good heavens, I've come down with the phantasms!
I've caught the vapors.
Yeah. The hysterics, you know. And...
Yeah. No, I can't remember if we were reading that in something that was old, in which case phantasms might just be a word for hallucinate, but it's more interesting to think that it means specifically the hallucination of ghosts.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, just a corn mold that, you know.
The ghosts of all the corn you've eaten in your life.
That's a lot, man.
They come back.
That's some deep stuff to think about,
Corn
you know?
skeleton. Well, you know, I guess when you think about it, a cob is really a corn skeleton.
But does corn go to corn hell?
That's interesting. And, you know, the corollary is there a corn heaven?
And what is it like?
What is it like?
Is it just like a field?
If you're a corn atheist, what do you do then?
Die.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're in the soil again. You mulch.
It's a circle of life, I guess. Yeah, circle of corn.
Yes, the circle of corn.
That's the name of my podcast.
Oh man, a spiral of corn.
It's been canceled already.
You got...
Oh, jeez.
I apologize. I deeply apologize.
It's quite okay. I like that song. Don't.
Yeah, it's good. I like a Lemon Demon.
I'm not... Does he have anything new out? Anything?
Well, the Mouth Dreams album.
No, right.
Although that's not... I like the original songs. It's, you know...
I get the sense he spends a lot of time on his stuff, though.
Yeah.
When you hear it, you can
does,
tell.
for sure. I mean, it's just like... It's very... just like layered and maximalist.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I always wonder why it takes so long, but then you hear it and you're like, well, that's, you know.
Right, yeah.
The money is up there on the screen, as they say.
Yeah, exactly.
As they say in movies.
And the other thing is that, like, he's been at this for, like, not like forever, man. Like,
I remember watching, it was probably your recommendation.
Yeah.
I watched a show.
Yeah, the 20-minute talk.
I watched a documentary on him, right at the talk, and it's weird because he's entirely native to computers. He's never not had a computer. I'm old enough that I've spent as much of my life without the internet as I have with the internet. I'm pretty evenly divided. I guess
that it would be odd, yeah, because like he's off the record, or like he's not just good enough. I totally know just the internet is what it is now, but like he's of the age where like he got in just on the ground floor, like he got like the oldest one out there, and then it
also sounds like with his background, which I know this from the thing, but I've forgotten it. But I mean, it sounds like his family. He was moving in circles where they were pretty technologically advanced. So
yeah, for sure.
Early access to some things. So, but he seems you know, in defiance of the stereotypes, he seems remarkably well adjusted. And
Yeah, he's cool.
He seems to have good perspective.
Yeah. Like, and, like, the fandom, like, I feel bad for him, because, like, the fandom, like, it can be weird about him, like...
I'm sure.
I mean, as with any, like, just real guy, you know, there's always, like, the thirst folks who make just, like, these insane jokes that just go way too far, you know?
Well, you know, I think he would probably... I think it's fair to characterize his music as being the work of an obsessive. I mean, he clearly has, you know, it's this very deep level of referentiality, and you know, there's all the stuff he brings to it. He clearly spends a lot of time to it, and you know, I think like attracts like. I think he's an obsessive, making obsessive music, and it has attracted a higher than normal percentage of people who are equally as obsessive. And sometimes that's a positive, but, you know...
man, nerds, man, I'm telling you, like, I mean, the nerd men, they draw in, like, the oddest fan bases.
I can imagine, yeah, the profile of nerddom has changed a great deal.
Yes.
It's been interesting to see it go from something that was purely a pejorative, purely a negative.
Hey, nerd.
To now, like, people trying to claim it, like, oh, you know, I was such a nerd growing up. I had Star Wars figures, or, you know, whatever.
I use it, just sparingly, honestly. Just for myself, you know, it's like... I only use it... Oh, I don't want to say I'm, well, like, a fanatic about something, or, you know, it's like...
I don't think I ever use it, like, free-floating, like oh, I'm such a nerd, he's such a nerd, they're such a nerd. I will use it in conjunction with something else. Like
Same, yeah.
I would describe myself as, like, a record nerd, or, like, a music nerd, but I wouldn't
And I'm an art nerd.
I wouldn't just say...
a graphic design nerd, kind of, you know, yeah. But, yeah, it's just... It's not like, oh, I'm a nerd. Just period. It's like, for what? Because, you know, it's based around an obsession, kind of.
Yeah, no, that's one thing that's been interesting to me, is that I'm old enough to remember when a nerd was a pretty highly specialized thing. Now it seems like... You know, like, nerd seems to be a very wide net. Like, somebody who is into Star Trek and Dungeons and Dragons. And,
oh, no, not Dungeons and Dragons. No.
And Pokemon, stuff like that, and all that. And not that there's anything wrong with any of those things, but, I mean, the people that I grew up with that I would consider nerds, you know, c'est moi. Like, you always had your focus. You didn't.
Right.
It wasn't like you liked all nerd things. I mean.
Yeah.
You know, there was some specialization, which I think that's not as much of a given anymore. It's been interesting to watch it develop, for better and for worse.
Right. Yeah. It's like, I think it's become, well, like a bit of a spread out thing, but something that's caused is the angry dudes who just, I'll just go blow it up, like, all these girls saying they're nerds when the real nerds, you know, it's like, and there's a balance to be struck there, I think.
Well, I mean, aggressive nerds are like spousal abusers, you know. They've always been around, it's just now you hear about it.
Right,
you know, people talk about, like, what is it about the modern age that makes people, like, you know, abuse their spouses more? It's like, they've always been doing it, it's only now that you're hearing about it, you know. Nerd, again, this goes back to the Lemon Demon thing. The level of obsession that this stuff creates in people, you know, it doesn't always express itself in a healthy way. And that's always been the case. But luckily, now it's being seen as a problem. The difference is that for a long time it's like, oh, you know, don't mind him. He's just a nerd. He's just awkward around women. It's
like, he gropes them.
Yeah, no, I mean,
and claims it was an just magnetic, just stimulation, because, you know.
No, that's, I mean.
It's like, dude, please be normal.
You laugh, but it's very true. There's stuff that today is recognized as sexual assault. When I was younger, it was like, oh yeah, you know, he's just weird around girls. It's like, you know what? Not really.
Nah, man, one of just my favorite things is, like, as, like, the D&D, like, just go bros who, like, try and act like it's, like, a set-in-stone thing, you know? You can't play a trans character, you can't bend the rules for your own crew or whatever. It's like, you?
Well, it's like you and I were talking about conspiracy theories a few nights ago.
Right, yeah.
People latch onto them because it's a way of making the world make sense. And I think Dungeons and Dragons is similar. I think it, people that have kind of power issues, people who maybe feel powerless in their real life, when they play D&D, they want to stick to the rules because it's like there's that need for control. Sometimes.
Nerd.
No,
I mean, there's a thing, just we said, just for some of that,
Yeah, I mean, there's all different styles of play, but, when it crosses into pathology, I mean, it is absolutely okay. I'm a nervous, uptight guy, and I like to be I don't need to be in control of situations, but I like to be in control of myself, and
of course.
That. So I don't knock people for that. It's perfectly understandable. But when it crosses into pathology, and when your need for control is like excluding and demeaning other people, and you're like using that to gatekeep them.
It's like
that's no good.
It's like, I mean, I play like a huge blue elf, and it's like, why does it need to be like, no, it has to be like, I'm just a version of you, with your...
Are there people that do that? Are there like people in the D&D thing who are like
to a certain extent, like, it's like, it's usually based on like a gender or just a race thing, like, it's,
Really?
yeah.
Boy, that seems pretty despicable.
And I know that, semi-official, like D&D folks, I know, in the newer stuff, they're eliminating, like, the need for, like, an evil race. I mean, specifically, like, they're black-coded, the evil...
Yeah, that seems ridiculous. I can't imagine who would want to do a role-playing game and would want to play anything like themselves.
It's like, I'm a loser, man. Come on, I want to play this huge...
This is one that I feel this way pretty much across the board when it comes to books or fashion or music or entertainment or what. It's like, what kind of square would be satisfied with the stuff that's quote-unquote for them?
Right.
Why would you... people are like, oh, that's, black music, or oh, those are girls' clothes, or oh, that's something for old people. It's like, why would you be satisfied with this stuff that's just for you? Why would you not want to, check out everything? I
think, no offense, it's a white man thing.
I'm sure that's true.
Because, other folks, things aren't like built for me or a lot of other people, I'm more comfortable because, if we stick to the things made for us, then, we've got nothing.
Yeah, no,
whereas,
I think that's
if we cross the genres, then,
I think that's absolutely true.
Whereas, there's enough, white man stuff out there.
Yeah, no,
dudes making stuff, dudes being bros.
I think you make an excellent point. That's exactly why white dudes gatekeep so much of this stuff, because they haven't had to develop the muscles, the improvisational sense that a woman in America has to develop, or a black person in America has to develop, of like, what, this isn't for me, but I'm gonna find my way into it.
Right,
I'm gonna use what I have, and I'm gonna find a way to make it do what I need it to do. White guys, everything is for us. So it's we may develop that improvisational sense, but we usually don't have to.
Right.
So no, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's definitely a demographic thing.
Yeah, and I'm excited after the next session of just my D&D group. Just a side thing, it's fun stuff.
Do you think you guys will be back to it next week?
Oh yeah. For context, for the past few weeks, we've been doing, on my D&D crew, we've been doing just one shot that our friend made, although it turned into a several shot. It took a few weeks to get through all of it, and now we're back onto our main thing. I think we'll be back. Yeah, it's currently a space werewolf planet, so it's fun stuff.
Sounds exciting. Did I tell you that when I was I grew up in I was not born there, but I grew up in semi-rural South Carolina.
Right, yeah.
D&D was largely like effectively outlawed.
Nerd.
And I went to this artsy summer camp, and they absolutely forbid D&D. It was
What?
one of the things.
Huh?
You forbid it. And the story that went around, the apocryphal story, this is almost certainly not true, is that
No, dude, it really happened. It happened to my cousin.
is that friend of a friend. My cousin knows this guy. No, but they said that several years prior there had been a thing where a group of kids was dressing up in like armor with actual swords and stuff.
Actual swords here in a semi-rural South Carolina.
And one kid cut another kid, and he was running around, and he was like, deep in the game, he's like running around, he's like deep in character, and the cops like surround him. They're like you have to stop, and the kid said, I can't.
Dude,
this is the story that circulated about why you can't play D&D.
How would you get an actual sword? Is that a thing that was read?
You're focusing on the wrong thing. The thing is, the story wasn't true.
Yeah, obviously.
It doesn't pay to parse the details because it was almost certainly made up.
No, dude, it's real. It really happened.
So
Just the year before. I went.
Yeah,
my friend who was there.
It's always the year before you got there.
My friend who was there. He met this guy. Saw this.
This happened before you were here, but yeah. So
oh god, I hate that.
Of course,
I hate that genre of thing.
Of course, the religiously fundamental, administration of the arts camp was like, and this is proof. This is why we can't let students play D&D. Like, okay.
It's like, all right, camp.
So instead, kids just like did whippets and stuff.
Hey.
D&D, no. Whippets, yes.
Hey, it's a fun pastime,
Pills, okay, maybe. As a sidebar, this camp was the site of, I told you the story the other night of the crack squirrels.
Yes, the crack squirrels.
The same.
No, dude. Like
the same campus.
The squirrels are on crack. It's like it's like.
There's I don't know if there was any sort of crack squirrel D&D fanatic crossover in this camp. I don't know if maybe the crack squirrels, perhaps the D&D guys encountered the crack
they were
squirrels.
I'm just like wizard hats.
There's your next, when your group gets back together. You guys could, I'm going to give you this idea of free for nothing. Here's your next campaign, right? It's you guys, D&D obsessive versus the crack squirrels of Furman University.
Oh man, it sounds great. And we are in...
You're welcome.
South Carolina, I assume,
Yes.
The far off distant land of South Carolina.
Furman, South Carolina, which is, not to be confused with Wofford University in South Carolina, which I mentioned Wofford to you only because their mascot is the Terriers. They have
like our little dog.
They have a cute little
dog
black and white terrier.
who is over by here,
Just conked out. Yeah, she had a long walk today.
Oh, I'll just do the same,
I would agree.
Alright, farewell for now, folks.